Okay. So yesterday I watched The Long Walk. And for the last 2, maybe 3 weeks or so, I've seen a few ads for it. And the ads were kind of the long walk is the greatest thing you'll ever see. Everyone's raving about it. Certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Blah, 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 blah. But didn't really give me an idea of what I was going to go watch. I saw a lot of, people walking, to me, it looked less like walking and just kind of more like marching. And then I see, tanks, or at least, kind of tank tire treads, a dude dressed in full, military regalia, and I had no idea it was Mark Hamill, watching the trailer. Oh, gosh. But anyways, so I thought from the trailers that this was a war movie. And I was like, I don't know, man. Don't get me wrong. There's some phenomenal war movies. But it's the kind of thing where, because they're just so dark and, bleak, I gotta be in the mood to go see a war movie. And to be honest, it's not a mood I'm very often in. But I looked into The Long Walk a little bit, and I'll let you know, I learned the basic premise, but did not learn spoilers. But when I learned the basic premise, oh, it's not a war movie, it's a death game. That's completely different. I love those. Let me go see that. And yeah, kind of the irony of that isn't lost on me. It's oh, war, just something where a bunch of people are gonna die. That's super bleak. Oh, a death game. That's way different. I love those. But I can articulate pretty easily why. And for me, this might sound a little weird saying, but it's because of how much I love watching Survivor, that it is a show that I have grown up on, and I've missed a few seasons here and there. It's something I have followed. And yes, no one dies in Survivor. That's why it's a little silly. But it's a show that's based around two simple premises. Number one, a group of strangers come together, they meet in this game, and they have to work together to continue to work together to survive. No one really dies in Survivor, but to make it through and to progress further. The other premise being, every few days, someone is going to get eliminated until there is only one left. And it is about that elimination of contestants, but also about the friendships and the brotherhoods and such that form as it goes on. And I've said this throughout several videos I've made, covering individual seasons of Survivor, that as much as I love, really good strategy, and as much as I love, flashy moments and fun tribal councils, what I love, what keeps me coming back to watching Survivor, are the moments where the gameplay intersects with the humanity. And when people are this is the best thing I can do for my game, but I don't know if I can do it because I really like this person. And I feel like I have to compromise my morals and the person that I am to make it further. And I don't know if I can do that because I don't know if I can look myself in the mirror after. I love that. And so, series that are about the elimination of contestants, whether it's a reality show like The Amazing Race or America's Got Talent or American Idol, things like that, or ones that are death games, Battle Royale, Hunger Games, freaking Fate Stay Night, basically, Danganronpa for sure. Can't wait for 2x2, by the way. Stuff like that, I just find immediately interesting and want to check out. So when I learned that that's what The Long Walk was, okay, it's no longer, what is this? Should I go watch it? It's okay, I'm going to, it's just a matter of when. I can't remember the last time I sat down, especially in a theater, but I sat down to watch a film And after the first 15, 20 minutes or so, I genuinely considered walking out. And it's not because it's a bad movie. This film is incredible. I'm gonna try to not go full spoilers throughout most of this video. When I do, I'll let you know. It's like I'll try to keep them light. But I think this might be the best movie I've seen this year. And part of that is just the quality of the film, and part of it is also just how it personally affected me and like the things it made me think about. But 15, 20 minutes in, I went, I don't know, man. This is going to be really hard to watch. Because it's after the first death. Because I did not know how violent this movie was going to be. Like, I think I knew it was rated R. And, like, obviously with a premise like this, you know it's going to be violent. And so if you're not aware of that, it's, like, this isn't spoilery. This is literally just the premise of the film. 50 boys, one from each state, are selected by a lottery that they all willingly enter to represent their state in something called the Long Walk, where 50 boys enter and they walk, and I believe they have to maintain a consistent speed of 3 miles per hour. And if they drop below that speed, I think I haven't read the book, and so some of this is stuff I know from the book, some of it, like, just like looking up the book. But some of it is stuff I know are rules in the book, some I know the movie changes a bit, because it's 4 miles per hour in the book, 3 in the movie. I think in the book, it's you have to drop below that speed for 30 seconds. I think in the movie it's only 10, or I might have that vice versa. But if you drop below that speed for a certain amount of time, you get a warning. You get 3 warnings. After your 3rd warning, you get your ticket, which means you get killed. There's some, like, a few other rules. I know there's some that are in the book that don't really come up in the movie. But essentially the other major rule is you also can't leave the track, because it's a long, like, stretch of pavement, and then there's, you know, military vehicles in the back, military vehicles in the front. You keep walking. There are no stops. There are no breaks. If you stop to, like, if you're falling asleep and you slow down, you get a warning. If, like, you need to use the bathroom, gotta do it while you're walking, otherwise you'll get a warning, and you might get your ticket. We walk until there's one left. There is no set time or destination. It's not, hey, you know, we're gonna go 500 miles, and if you all make it, you all make it. It's, you go until there's one. And when the first death happened, and you see it, like, you see, like, how, like, graphic it is, I went, I already really like these people. Like, just that first bit of, like, Garrity, and Pete, and Olsen, and Baker, like, everyone just gathering and talking, and, like, kind of talking some shit about it. It's like, hey, like, what's your story? Like, oh, you think you're gonna be good? Dude, I'm gonna win the walk this year. Y'all ain't shit. Like, this is so fun. They're all so likable. Oh, man. I'm gonna have to see all but one of them die. And depending on what happens in this story, there's a non-zero chance I might see all of them die. I don't know if I can do this. But I did. And it was amazing. Not seeing them die, but the movie's amazing. But it got me thinking about a few things. Number one was the why? Like, why? What about this game in particular made it so hard to watch? Like, Battle Royale, I think, is awesome. Like, I could totally rewatch that at, like, basically any time. I just said a little bit ago, like, dude, I can't wait for the next Danganronpa game. And it's also, like, kids killing each other and shit. So I'm like, so why am I excited for that? But this, like, I had to think about, like, do I actually want to sit here and watch this? And part of it might be, well, one thing is like live action and like played more serious, while some of the others are maybe a bit more cartoony and like there's maybe an argument there, but that's not really gonna like that's not a good argument for me. I know that's not the problem. What's the problem here? And I think part of it is the instant likability of all the characters. I'm like, that's part of it, but in other things, I'm like, no, like, I can get attached to characters quickly, or I can get attached to contestants quickly. So I know it's not that. And what I realized is, it's because they all volunteered. And so I kind of need to figure out how I want to articulate why that made it so hard to watch. Because in most death games, and I know there are some exceptions to this, like I mentioned Fate, but in most death games, characters are brought here against their will and are like, okay, now I have to do what I can to survive. And I think part of it also is that in a lot of death games I've seen, you have multiple survivors. That number can vary. Sometimes it's not very high, but there's always kind of that chance and that hope that more than one person can get out. And here, it's made very clear at the start, that's not going to happen. It's just going to be one. And also, just the fact that they chose to be here. Because they even say, like, yeah, all of us entered. There's no law that makes it so we have to enter, but we all did. And we were all excited to be able to enter. There's a point where they're discussing it, and they're like, you know, it's not mandatory to do it, but everyone does. Like, do you know any kid that was eligible that did not put his name into the goblet of fire, but did not put his name down? Why are we like this? And it's that passion and excitement slowly turning into horror as the reality of their situation dawns on them. And they realize, oh, I knew what I signed up for, but I didn't know what I signed up for. Oh, there's no breaks. Oh, this is physically, mentally, and emotionally draining. Oh, I'm making friends. And I can only win if they die. Damn. But like I said, it got me thinking. And not just in that sense of okay, why does this one hit so much harder than others? But it also got me thinking about the prize. Because that's another thing. That's another rule, is if you win, you get a cash prize that they don't say how much it is, but it's presumably it's a lot. It's worth it. You also get the prize, which is a wish. You essentially get whatever you want, so long as it's not some form of policy, because they even say you can't say, well, for my wish no one else has to do the walk. You're not allowed to do that. But aside from that, you get anything. They mentioned one kid who wanted an elephant, so they brought him an elephant and he rode the elephant back home. I was okay, that was kind of funny. Because there are some moments in this movie that are genuinely really funny. I think a lot of them come from Olsen. But, it's the kind of thing that makes you wonder, at least for me, if everyone is putting their name into this, and more or less knowing exactly what is going to be asked of them. How desperate do you have to be to go through with it? To know that I have a 1 in 50 chance. In the book, it's 1 in 100. There is a 99% mortality rate. And I know it's something they talk about in the book, is that even if you win, you don't tend to last very long after. Like, so why? Why would you do that to yourself? Like, how desperate do you have to be for that? And then I thought about my own life. And that, yeah, there are times where I would have, like, considered that. Where I think it's a combination of, there are times in my life where I would have been desperate enough for, like, that wish, or, you know, to be able to prove myself that I do something like that. And I'm also like, there are times in my life where I would have been willing to throw my life away. There's a song by Panic at the Disco called High Hopes. You gotta have high hopes for a living. There's a line that's a few times, it's kind of like a pre-chorus, where it's, I believe the actual line is, we wanted everything. But I heard it as wanted anything more than everything. And it's even though it's a misheard line, it's one that's, it stuck with me for a good while. Just that idea of wanting and needing something, anything, to keep yourself going. Like, you were so desperate for a win, for a purpose, that you do kind of anything for. It's like, I don't need the world. I don't need all of this. I just need something for me. And the film, and I think, I understand the book does this too, they talk about how the country is, like, not doing well economically, because it specifically does take place in America. It's like, we're not doing well economically, like, there's a big war, and people do this to better themselves, or to try to put themselves in that position. And then the Major gives this speech about, it's like, you know, it's because of boys, like, because he does, Mark Hamill is, like, not quite doing his Joker voice, but basically doing his Joker voice, because even while in a character, the Major is kind of playing a character. But it's almost like this, like, darker Uncle Sam kind of thing. But it's like, you know, it's because of you boys, and, like, your grit and determination, you know, it inspires the country, and, you know, we want to be better and stuff like this. This is what we need, boys, keep going. There's a point where, the character, it's Ray, what's his last name? It's like Garrity, that's it. Where I think Garrity is like, man, fuck you, go fuck yourself. And the Major goes, that's the spirit, like, keep going. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that got a laugh out of me. Like, I don't think I should be genuinely laughing at this point in the movie, because, man. But I'm like, damn, that was good. But it was something that made me think. My understanding is that the original book, which is Stephen King, by the way, apparently Carrie is the first thing that was published, but this is the first book he actually wrote. And it was written as a commentary about the Vietnam War. And yeah, I can see it. Especially the fact that you have to get picked in a lottery, but, like, you essentially get picked for a draft. And every, like, man in America is entered in it. And when your number comes up, your number comes up. And that people are not really knowing what they're getting into. But when they're in there, it's brutal and you can't leave. And people talk about how homesick they are and they just want to, like, go see their mom or see their girlfriend or their family. And that, you know, you bond with a lot of the people around you. They become your brothers. They're not all going to go home with you. Like, yeah, I can see it. But coming out in 2025, it feels like it's a movie about a handful of things. And because one thing I hear about a lot online is people talking about, like, the male loneliness epidemic. And I think part of that is, like, romantic loneliness, but also a lot of it is just a lack of friendship and a lot of brotherhood. And you hear a lot of people talk about how, like, as a man, it's difficult to make connections, or that it's difficult to be emotional and to have like real genuine connections that aren't just surface level, how you doing, did you watch the game kind of stuff. And I feel like this is a movie that is unironically about the power of friendship. And I love stories that are like that. And yeah, I love, like, I watch Friendship is Magic. I love stories that are like the power of friendship, and then you have like a rainbow Kamehameha that like blasts demons and shit. Like, that's great. But it is genuinely about how making bonds and making connections can get you through things. There are so many points in the movie where someone is like gone, like where like Ray is falling asleep walking and his friends have to wake him up or else he's going to die. There's parts where Olsen is like fried mentally, but like talking to his friends is able to get him just like make him go just a little bit further. He's like, okay, like, thank you, I needed that, like, I'm good. There's this one boy where I can't remember his name. It's Gary, like Barkovich. It's something close. I think it's Mike Barkovich, where he's tries to fit in early on and he just doesn't mesh with anybody. So then he becomes an asshole and is super antagonistic. And that's kind of what keeps him going, is like out of spite. But the fact that he doesn't fit in with the group as the herd starts to thin, that sense of isolation like clearly starts to get to him. And he tries to become a lot nicer and be like, hey guys, like, I know I'm an asshole, but you know, I didn't like mean any of that, right? Like, can I be in the group now? And I love that, because you see a combination of like, this is what it means to have friends and bonds, and this is what it can do. This is how it can push you forward. This is what happens when you don't. You can only go so far by yourself. You need a support system. And I liked that a lot. It's also a movie that's about, like, man, the economy sucks. Like, are we, like, we're desperate for money and a wish to, you know, put ourselves and our families in a better situation. And I think that's applicable to a lot of different, I don't know if it's exactly timeless, because like there's probably some time periods where it doesn't quite fit, but there's a lot of time periods where it does, like now. There's also themes about like government distrust and abuse, which, yeah, that's something that applies in basically every era. I'm not going to go into a deep thing about politics. I just don't want to talk about it. But this movie, like, really just had me thinking about the political sphere and environment. I'm like, man, I just hate how politics is less about, I have my beliefs, you have your beliefs, let's sit down and have a discussion and see if we can reach a compromise. And it's about, I'm always right, you're always wrong, and even if the situation changes, well, I'm still right and you're still wrong, even if like you're doing the exact same thing I was doing 10 minutes ago. Like, I hate that. Like, I have a friend I went to law school with. I call him Chuck. Chuck is someone, like, he and I have joked that there's probably 2 things that we have ever agreed on. Both of us are Christian, believe that Jesus is king, and both of us love sweet tea. Like, that's kind of it. We are the opposite sides of the political spectrum. And I adore that man, and that man adores me. Like, we have had so many good, just, like, moments as, like, just as brothers, you know? Just talking about things, like, talking about politics, talking about, like, some of our beliefs on Christianity, about the law, and just, like, other, like, goofy things. Like, I'm a Saints fan, he's a Panthers fan. Like, opposite ends of things. But we're still friends. We're still brothers. And I just hate that politics now, it's not even that it doesn't have that. It just seems to actively discourage it. So I love seeing a movie that, even though the premise is about there can only be one of you that gets out, you have to compete against each other. You have to root for other people to fail. But in the actual weeds and the execution of it, they refuse to do that. Like, we know. There's a point where they're like, man, you can't keep saving me. Like, I bet you want me to die. I know you don't want me to actually make it. And then, like, 10 minutes later, dude, I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry. Because I know only one of us can get out. But I am so thankful that you've been sticking with me. That you're not just gonna let me fall. It's beautiful. It's gut-wrenching. It's really hard to watch. But it's beautiful. I didn't write notes for this, so I'm like, was there anything else I wanted to say? I'm not sure. And I haven't really talked about spoilers either, so you know what? I don't think I will. I will say... I think I will, because there is one thing I want to talk about. So here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full spoilers are live. Number 1. Oh, man, dude. Baker's death hit hard. And it's that... Like, hey, guys, like, I can't keep going. Yeah, you can, man. Yeah, you can. No. I can't. But I'm going home. But promise me you won't look. That was devastating. Like, I didn't cry during the movie, but I'm like, man, that would, I think, maybe got me kind of close. I think it was, this has happened to me before. Like, I specifically remember with Madoka, the first time I watched her, like, I'm so invested in what's happening. Like, I can't even process my emotions. Like, I can't cry because this is so riveting. But on rewatches, like, there have been so many points of Madoka where I've cried. If I rewatched this, I would probably cry there. Gosh, I also think of, like, when Olsen goes, and he's just, like, I did it all wrong. Like, that is devastating. There was a point in the movie, and I don't even know when it was, where I thought to myself, Peter's gonna sacrifice himself for Rey, but I don't know what it is. I don't think Rey's gonna win, because, like I said, I've never read the book, and I didn't, like, look into the book and the differences before I saw the film, so I didn't know that Garrity won in the original book. But I'm like, I don't think he wins. I can't say what it is. I guess, like, it's a really, like, dark thing, but it was almost, it feels too easy if he wins. Like, sure, of course, in all this, the main character is gonna get to the end. Like, not to say it's not a fucking harrowing journey, because it is. I'm like, I don't know. I've just got this gut feeling. It's like, it's so in Peter's character to sacrifice himself for someone else, and I think he will. But just with the way this story is going, Garrity doesn't win. So, when it's just the two of them left, and Peter stops walking, I'm like, okay, I was right. He's going to sacrifice himself. But then Rey goes back for him. He's like, no. Like, we're going to keep going. We can just keep walking. You can walk with me a little longer. And then Garrity stops walking. Like, I was right about both. And there's that part of my brain that's like, yes, I knew it. I figured it out. I'm so glad. And then the other part of my brain that goes, no. Like, it's so devastating. Oh. And as as like Peter's holding him, gosh, the whole scene with Olsen, man, it's like as Art is like cradling his friend and is getting warnings as it happens, and then Garrity goes back for him, is like, no man, like you gotta let him go, you've gotta let him go, we gotta keep going, and Art's like, dude, he was calling for me, like I couldn't leave him, like how did I not cry, like, oh gosh. But as like Pete is holding Ray's body, and then Ray just whispers to him, he's like, dude, I know. Oh gosh, the scene with him and his mom. Oh man. Like, yeah, I will, if I watch this movie again, I'm gonna cry so many times. I do not plan to go see this in theaters again, by the way. But like, look, if I happen to watch it again, I am gonna be bawling. But that scene when Pete is holding him and he's saying, like, I know you'll be better than me. My wish is I just want to kill that bastard. You will do your wish, whatever it is, because I know the person you are. You'll make the world a better place. You'll make it worth it. My death is worth it so that you can live. And Pete makes Garrity's wish. He wishes for that gun, for that carbine, and then kills the Major. And it's so devastating because it makes Garrity's sacrifice meaningless. But it also doesn't. Because what the ending is it reinforces the central theme of the film about bonds and friendship and brotherhood. And that, like, when your friend needs you, you do what you can for them. But sometimes, like, someone impacts your life, like, so drastically. You kind of do what you can to honor their memory. Even if it is shooting Mark Hamill in the chest. Or that. And, like, that's... Like, he sacrificed his life for his friend. And he chose to use his one wish to kind of let his friend go in peace in a way. Or it's like to avenge his friend. And even if it's not what Pete initially wanted to do, and even if it means that Garrity, in a way, kind of died for nothing, Garrity also, it wasn't just revenge, although very much mostly was, it was maybe killing this bastard will change something. So in a way, Pete potentially, because who knows what the fallout is, the fact that there's also just no crowd after, you're like, ooh, what happened? But, like, you don't know what the fallout is, but that maybe changed something, and he was able to avenge his friend. Not that I'm I feel like, especially given recent events, like, I'm not saying, like, yeah, assassination, yay! Like, I'm not saying that at all. But I really loved this movie. Because when I was done, I was like, this just stayed. Because there have been movies where, like, I've watched it and I've had a good time. But, like, this was really cool. This was really fun. Blah, 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 blah. Maybe made me think about some stuff. I kind of left the theater, talked about it for a bit, and then I was good. This one was like, this one's just, like, clinging to me. And it's making me just really think about stuff. Yeah. This one was really, really good.